Hey guys, Mike here. So in today's video, I'm going to show you the secret behind how institutions and hedge funds actually manipulate the stock market and, more importantly, retail investors, okay? And so, they use something called dark pools. So if you are an expert in dark pools, you already know what those are. You don't have to watch this video. I will not be offended, trust me. I understand. But if you don't, you need to watch this to understand, because that way you'll be more educated on this game and the manipulation that's taking place, okay? And there will be a light bulb moment for some of you, like there was for me when I did this research. I don't work for a hedge fund. I don't have access to the secrets behind the scenes. And so this right here kind of let me know, now I totally get why some of the things I've seen in the market is happening, okay? And so I'm gonna show you how they're using them, why they're using them, and then where you can actually find these dark pools at, okay? And so you got to watch the whole video to actually keep track of what's going on. And it was the AMC short squeeze that kind of got me into this research, because the numbers weren't adding up. And so I'll kind of start off with them, but that's why I started doing this, because I like to know the why and how of things, okay? And so let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into this. And so, of course, everybody knows what's been going on at AMC. I mean, it's risen 120% in the matter of a week. And so, but when the problem is with this is when you look, remember GameStop was short over 100%, right? When it went on its run. So when you look at the shares shorted on multiple sites right here, this is FinViz, the short float's 22.64%, Seeking Alpha 17.71%. And then we go over to MarketBeat, which you can see the shorts have actually been increasing up to May 14th this is, but still only at 21% of the shares shorted. And so, of course, anything over 10%, as I've said, is high. Anything over 20 is 20% considered very high. And so, but still, it's like, this isn't adding up, because GameStop was over 100%. And so I'm like, something's going on. So I started digging into it. And some of the members were talking about this. We've been talking about this for months, actually, not just this, but, even the manipulation of the market, the different patterns you see in these charts, is wasn't making any sense. And there had to be something behind it, right? And so, I've heard of dark pools before. I just never researched them, because why? I have no reason to research them at the time. And so, I went into it. So first, let's wrap our head around what a dark pool is. And I found this great short little video that explains it way better than I could anyway. But then we're going to go into more detail of why you would actually want to do this and how they're doing it, and how we can find it.
Dark pools are private exchanges for trading large chunks of securities that are not accessible to the public. They facilitate block trading for institutional investors seeking to avoid impacting the market with their large orders. While criticized for their lack of transparency, dark pools can serve a purpose. If dark pools are not available and a large institutional investor wants to sell 1 million shares of XYZ stock, the impact will be big. Investors may see it as a sign to sell XYZ, and the price could fall. A dark pool lets the investor sell the block, and the lack of transparency works in her favor, as the price will be better than if the shares were sold on an exchange. Broker-dealers, agency brokers, and exchanges own dark pools, whose advantages include reduced market impact and lower transaction costs. But dark pools may not reflect real market prices. If a mutual fund owns 20% of company RST's stock and sells it in a dark pool, unaware investors who later buy RST will pay too much for it. RST could then collapse when the fund's big sale goes public.
And these dark pools are actually started in 1979, and they're regulated by the SEC. And I say that with total sarcasm, because the SEC is supposed to regulate short selling. And we see how that's been going, right? And all the crazy mess happening behind the scenes. And so these dark pools were created for a good reason. Like the video said, it was created so these massive purchases and massive sales would not affect the price dramatically, okay? Because if you dump 100 million shares and sell them on the open market, that could create panic selling for that one stock, especially depending on how big the market cap is, right? And the same thing if you bought 100 million shares. So, that's why they started them. But of course, as usual, what happens with these hedge funds and institutions? They always, like to push the boundaries like children. And so, of course, what are they doing? All kinds of stuff that wasn't meant to be done in the first place. It wasn't what the SEC wanted dark pools for. And there are many dark pools. I'm talking about Goldman Sachs has them, JP Morgan. Everybody has them. There's a lot of them, okay, out there. It's not just one big dark pool, okay? And again, all this is taking place in the dark. You can't see it. I can't see it. The people buying and selling can't see each other. They have no idea who's buying and selling this stuff. They have no idea what the tension is behind them doing this. And so that right there just lets you know it's shady. Okay, it's just particularly shady. But let's get into how they're using these and why this is bad. And you know, again, what it was created for was good, and that still holds true right there. The problem is the other stuff they're doing. And so I have 4 coasters here. We'll pretend these are 4 blocks of stocks adding up to 100 million shares that a hedge fund wants to buy, or an institution for that matter. And so if they went to the open market, what would happen? Odds are they're not going to buy one big block of 100 million shares. And so what they're going to do is break it up. 25 million shares bought. What happens to the price? Most likely it's going to be going up, right? And they have to buy this one. Price going up again. Repeat and rinse, right? So as we buy all those shares, most likely it's going to push the stock up because other people start jumping in and buying when they see those massive purchases. And so the advantage they have is that we don't have. They can go over to the dark pool. And again, they don't know who's buying this from or anything else, and they don't care why. And so they're gonna be able to buy this whole block in the dark pool. That's what it was made for. And the computer will hook it up with a buyer, and boom. Or they may have to break it down into 2, maybe into 50 million, whatever. But they can buy for one price and they have to worry about chasing it up. Okay, so that gives them the advantage. And if it's an institution that's routing our trades through there, which they do, then it gives, you know, hopefully we get the benefit. We'll see on that. And so that's one thing they do. And these become so popular. 39% of U.S. stock market trades were executed on dark pools and other off-market vehicles in April 2019. The latest numbers as of February 2020 suggest that there were over 50 dark pools registered with the SEC. And now here's where the manipulation really comes in at. And this kind of pertains to AMC and any other stock like this. Let's say you're short a stock, okay? And so what do you want to do? You want the price to go down. So let's say a lot of institutions are short the same stock. Let's say it's AMC. And they want this price to continue to drop so they can continue to make money. So what do? Let's say we're ordering, right? We want to buy, I don't know, 1,000 shares. I want to buy 1,000 shares of AMC. You want to buy 2,000 shares. Jimmy wants to buy 3,000. Great. What should happen to the price? It should go up. But what do? They take our orders, they route them through the dark pools so nobody knows we even bought the shares. You know, we get the shares, right? Nobody knows we even bought the shares, and therefore what happens to the price? It doesn't go up, okay? It doesn't go up. And the opposite can be said if you want to cover your short position, right? What do? You want to drive the price down by doing that. You see what's happened though. You see the momentum because you can see the orders coming in like, wow, this thing's getting ready to start running. And so what happens? They'll take their buy orders and they'll reroute them, right? Because they want to cover their short positions through the dark pools. So we don't know they're covering their shorts at all, right? We have no idea what they're doing. And so that's the dangerous part of it. That's the manipulation part of it. They can do whatever they want to do with our orders. They can route our buy orders, our sell orders. So they can literally sit there if they want to drive a stock down and sit there and reroute all the sell orders into the market, then take all the buy orders for that stock and run them through the dark pools. All right, so then people see this. We see the sell orders. We see all this stuff coming in. And then that creates panic, right? Starts triggering stop losses. That's how you see these stocks just absolutely, they'll come up real quick and they'll just drastically go down because they can start rerouting the sell or the buy orders into the dark pools and reroute the sell orders into the market so we can see it. And vice versa. They can do the same thing if they want a stock to go up. Right, they reroute the sell orders into the dark pools, reroute the buys into the market. And it's way more complicated than this. I'm just trying to keep it simple for the purpose of this video because I read some very complicated scenarios of things they actually do with dark pools. And it's almost crazy to be honest with you. But it's almost like a company that keeps 2 sets of books, one for the IRS and then one's all in pencil and paper, right? So they can avoid paying taxes or something. It kind of reminds me of that. But this also goes along just with, you know, them creating synthetic shares, right? So they've done with GME, AMC and all that stuff, is they create these synthetic shares to help drive the price down, all that kind of crazy mess. And so it's just manipulation at its best. So now the question is like, how do you find these, right? And so I started digging around, and when I did my penny stock video, I went on a certain website and showed you those top 5 market makers that are just moving those stocks around at will, however they want to do it. And so I went over to our buddies at FINRA and I click on the tab up top, says OTC, issue data, I come down, hit monthly, and I search AMC, right? And you search any stock you want, And you see AMC right here. This is the March report, which came out May 4th. And you see over, was it 1.2 billion shares, total trades of 6.6 million. And then if we go to the right and we just click on the little details page right here, you can see who's at the top. Citadel. It always seems to be Citadel, right? Or Virtu. And these are those big market makers I told you about. And you see Jane Street. I mean, they're kind of down the bottom, but they're one of them. But they're not, most of them aren't even in the same league as Citadel and Virtu and what they do. And you can see at the top, that tells you what month the report is, when they issue it, and all that stuff. And then if we just rearrange it, total shares, you see AMC is #1 by a mile with all these shares right here that were traded basically off book or in these dark pools. And you can look at another month, I think it's February, 1.7 billion shares in February. And I want you to take note of how far apart the date is reported versus the month is reporting for. So that was for March, you gotta wait till May 4th. So for April, we gotta wait all the way to June 4th. And don't think that's not on purpose, okay? Don't think that's not on purpose. But, there is a way to try to use this information to, point and see these kind of stocks. I'm still working on them. I work with some people and some members in our Discord and our community, trying to figure out how to use these reports, to help us try to figure out some of these stocks or what stocks are actually being manipulated the most and see if we can take advantage of that. But, one thing I do want to say is, don't forget, I know people are saying, man, we're putting it to the man, we're just really showing these institutions who's boss and all that good stuff. And, I don't want to break people's hearts, and I'll take probably slack for saying this, but I can promise you, you ain't affecting those institutions at all, because guess what? It ain't their money. That's just the way it is. All these reports about how they lost $1.4 billion, short selling and all this crazy mess, that wasn't their money. They're getting paid regardless. That was investors' money, okay? And who invests in hedge funds, for example? Corporations, millionaires, billionaires, I don't really care about. But guess who else invests in hedge funds? Pension funds, charities, foundations, all that kind of stuff. Last time I looked, millionaires and billionaires don't get pensions, okay? I wish I was getting a pension, but I don't. So if you're losing that much money, really, then that's affecting the return on those pension fund investments, those charities and foundations, all that stuff. And so, I'm glad you feel like you're putting it to the man. You're not. And also, you don't think they've made that money back from GameStop over the last 3 months, manipulating this market? Yeah, of course, they're making money back. Give me a break. And so, you look right here, you got a hedge fund manager apologizing to his investors, his clients, for losing $4 billion in a single month because he messed up on his shorting strategy, basically. And where did he mess up? This is where the dark pools come back into play, right? You can keep shorting the heck out of a stock, creating synthetic shares, all that stuff, as long as people are selling that stock. But what happened with GameStop and AMC? People aren't selling. They're buying and just holding the shares, which means you can't, if they're not selling, you can't reroute it. Or you just can't reroute it. Now, they can reroute the buy orders, or we can't really see them. And eventually, they do have to report those buys and sells, by the way. I don't know what the time frame is, try finding that. But, take the information as you will. It's not some kind of financial advice. I'm definitely going to be working with some of our members in the Discord and membership, trying to figure out a way to use this information to help us make money. That's what I'm going to try to do. Again, if you want to come over to the community, hit that link down the bottom down there and come on over. Be glad to have you. And I think you'll really like the people in the community. So hope you guys some out of it. If you hadn't already, hit that like and subscribe button for me, guys. That's what I ask. I'll end up seeing you guys tomorrow. If you got a I don't know, you want to buy some crypto. Don't forget to hit that affiliate link down in the bottom of the description there, where you can earn up to $250 of free Bitcoin just for opening an account with BlockFi, depending on your initial deposit. And more importantly, draw interest on all your cryptocurrencies and get a payment each month for that, which is what I love to do. And apply for their ever popular credit card. I believe I am still number 200,000 on the waiting list right now. And you also take loans out on your cryptocurrencies at a very reasonable rate as well.